Do you know that when a stimulus is continuous, the firing frequency of the nerve begins to slow, causing the sensation to diminish? This is known as adaptation. As an example, think of entering a cold body of water. When you first step in, the water may seem very cold. After a few minutes, your senses adapt, and it doesn't feel as cold. So, in this section, we will talk about the cutaneous receptors. The skin is composed of two layers, the epidermis and the dermis. The artist has dramatically indicated these two layers by separating the epidermis from the dermis in one location. The epidermis is stratified squamous epithelium, in which cells become keratinized as they rise to the surface. Once at the surface, the dead cells are shed from the skin. The dermis is a thick connective tissue layer, the deepest layer of epidermis, and the entire dermis layer contains cutaneous receptors, which make the skin sensitive to touch, pressure, pain, and temperature. Means for warmth and cold. These tiny receptors are scattered all throughout the dermis, as you can determine by slowly passing a metal probe over your skin. At certain points, you'll feel touch or pressure, and at others, you'll feel heat or cold, depending on the probe's temperature. 3 types of cutaneous receptors are sensitive to fine touch, like the gentle brush of a fingertip across your cheek. Meissner's corpuscles, oval, yet flattened, connective tissue cells, with 2 or more fibers spiraling into each corpuscle to end in small knobs. Located in hairless skin, such as fingertips, lips, palms, soles, external genitalia, and nipples. They respond to objects that lightly touch the skin. They are small receptors surrounded by Schwann cells, and then thin, egg-shaped connective capsules. Other are tactile Merkel discs. Within the deepest epidermal layer, there are receptors for light touch. They are formed by certain free nerve endings, associated with enlarged tactile or Merkel cells. A root hair plexus winds around the base of a hair follicle and signals if the hair is touched. The 3 different types of cutaneous receptors that are sensitive to pressure are Pacinian corpuscles, Ruffini endings, and Krause end bulbs. Pacinian or lamellar corpuscles. These are scattered deep in the dermis and subcutaneous tissue. They are mechanoreceptors, stimulated by deep pressure, but only when it is first applied. This makes them able to monitor vibrations as on-off pressure stimuli. These corpuscles are the longest in size, sometimes more than 3 millimeters long and 1.5 millimeters wide. They can be seen by the naked eye as white, egg-shaped structure. They have a single dendrite, surrounded by a capsule of as many as 60 layers of collagen fibers with flat supporting cells. Ruffini endings. They are tactile receptors found in the dermis, subcutaneous tissue, and joint capsules. Their receptor endings are enclosed by flattened capsules. They look similar to tendon organs, and function to monitor changes in dense connective tissues, responding to deep and continuous pressure. Krause end bulbs are located in the superficial layers of the dermis, and its end bulbs are encapsulated by sheaths of connective tissue and contain lacy networks of nerve fibers. The skin's temperature receptors are simply free nerve endings in the superficial dermis and epidermis. Some free nerve endings are responsive to cold. Others are responsive to warmth. Cold receptors are far more numerous than warmth receptors, but the two types have no known structural differences. As you've discovered, each type of receptor described in this section has a well-defined function. However, research continues to show that receptors may respond to more than one sensation. For example, microscopic examination of the skin of the ear shows only free nerve endings, which function as pain receptors. But as you know from everyday life, the skin of the ear responds to all sensations, such as temperature, fine touch, pressure, and so on. Therefore, it appears that the skin receptors are somewhat, but not completely, specialized. Let's simplify it. Thermoreceptor, sense heat and cold. Meissner's corpuscle senses touch. Nociceptor, sense pain. And Pacinian receptor senses pressure. So it was all about this section. In our next section, we will talk about the proprioceptors.
Watch our medical videos anytime and anywhere. Download sqadia.com app now.